Hello, just getting myself sorted out here. Hi Dan. This is complicated. I've actually taped two phones to the tree, to a tree trunk, and hello to everyone. Hello. I just thought I'd like to deliver a little message. Well, from my corner of paradise here in Thailand. This is not the Sea of Salento, but I always say that when I travel around the world, perhaps the sea is not really what I look for, because Salento has some of the most extraordinary beaches and coastlines in the world, but it's also quite beautiful to see things. We don't have the coral reefs in Salento, so I think it's a nice change. I thought on the 31st, probably for you Americans, you're still on the 30th, so you still have a few hours before you venture into the new year. But I thought it was a great opportunity before we go traveling tomorrow and then eventually go back to the big city. Thank you to everybody who's wishing me happy birthday. What are you doing live on YouTube? I just believe that it's nice to share with the world when you have good things happening in your life. It's nice to share them, and I think thank you from Missouri, here from Phi Phi Island. I think whenever amazing things happen in our lives, it's great to share them. When things are not too great in our lives, it's good to share them. So sharing is good because it allows us to become stronger. It allows us as well to build friendships, true friendships around us that makes us achieve our objectives, our dreams, our visions. The last few years for me, there have been an extraordinary change in my personal life, which is still continuing to change. Our life changes all the time. That's if you allow your life to change. And I like to say thank you to the almost 100 people that in the last couple of years have secured a property in Salento using a concept and a method that at the beginning I didn't even think myself it was actually plausible or possible, which was to purchase a property totally remotely without sometimes the efforts and the aggravations of dealing with realtors, traveling, and everything else that can come as a result of that. So I'd like to say thank you for all the people that trusted the process. Now, 2023, what is waiting for us? Well, I think my last video that I published, which was a little bit more staged, excuse my hair, but I'm living a savage life here, you know. But I think my last video kind of set the tone to 2023. We are definitely making grounds and breaking grounds in the areas of assisting clients from all over the world. And when I say from all over the world, I'm talking from different hemispheres, going from Australia to the United States and South Africa and different parts of the world, that is indeed, and Europe as well, in securing a property in Italy. I'll also like to say thank you to the ones that have actually chosen Salento as a place to relocate and maybe spend the rest of their remaining lives, because that's what happens, you know. Our life gets beautifully exhausted towards the end. So what a better way of choosing a place where the environment is great, the temperatures are good, the food is fantastic, and hey, let me tell you, I could never live here because the wine is not good. So also living in a part of the world where the wine is definitely amazing, and the food obviously. But yeah, so a big thank you to all the ones that have trusted us, my team, and they've chosen Salento to relocate. Which is an incredible challenge, you know, moving into a new country, not knowing the language, not knowing the bureaucracy and the red tape sometime, and the things that you need to know, and the culture as well, could be extremely hard. So to anyone who has made that leap, not just in Salento but anywhere in Italy, well done. That you showed to be extremely courageous. But I also say, one of the things that I always say about traveling that I enjoy very much is because it's the only time, or one of the only few times, when you go to somewhere new where all your senses become alive and you need to be constantly on alert, where normally we live our lives with all our senses almost switched off because we know everything around us. We know where the car is, we know where to park, we know where the supermarket is, we know what to say, we know where the doctor's surgery is, we know where the hospital is, we know everything. We know where our best restaurant is, we know absolutely everything. But when you travel and when you relocate, then you are really almost like a child. You need to learn all of those things, and you need to set up all those things that make you comfortable again. Because we live in comfort zones, and it's great. You know, everyone that says, oh, you should get out from your comfort zone. Why? Why should I get out from my comfort zone? I may want to get out and build a different comfort zone, and that's what we do. We are creatures of habits, so we build our comfort zones. Lynn, thank you very much for your comment. I've got the sun. I can hardly see the comments coming up, but bringing them on. If you want to come into the chat, just jump in. You know, I will publish this video at the end. But yes, it's been a fantastic challenge. Now 2023, Lynn, thank you. 2023 is going to be an amazing year. We're just on the verge of launching a new website as part of a new company which is called Renting in Puglia. So rentinginpuglia.com is going to be our next thing. And what is Renting in Puglia about? Well, I always said right from the beginning, I'm not a realtor. Selling properties, well, you know, there is thousands of realtors scattered all over Italy, all over the world, that do an extraordinary job. You want a property, you find a realtor. I like to go beyond the realtor expectations, which is really making sure that you pick up a property that really fits your needs, and on top of that really fits my thinking and my philosophy. A property, unless it's the property that you are living in full-time, should always have an element of investment. So with that in mind, I've created a concept that rotates around you taking full enjoyment out of that property, but at the same time, if it's not your full-time property, you can rent it out and bring some revenue in. Someone needs to the messages appear while you're actually writing them. So Renting in Puglia, it's focused to offer that service to our clients who have believed in us, purchased their property through us. We are servicing their property through the Salento with Love services, and at the same time, Renting in Puglia as a partner company could actually offer the services of renting that property. Now, what's different between Renting in Puglia and other companies out there, for example, Booking.com, Airbnb and everything else? Well, our portal will be fully dedicated to short-term to long-term rentals. When I say short-term, I refer to anything that is over 30 days. So yes, although I'm here in this beautiful paradise, I can't stop thinking, how can I make sure that things work out for the people that believed in my vision? And Renting in Puglia is definitely one of them. So while I've been here, I've been writing back and forwards to the developers of the website. Thank you very much, Simone, for helping me through this process and making sure that also it is user-friendly. See, many of you are applying for a visa in Italy. It could be an elective visa, and so I will deliver videos specifically on this subject. And having a rental contract registered with the Italian authorities is a requirement in order for you to apply for your visa. So what about having a platform that allows you to find the properties that you can rent for a period of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever it is, until you actually go through that process? Or what about renting a property in a beautiful scenario like this, but in Puglia, and exploring the area and a place that you can call home for a period of a few months? So that's really the concept about Renting in Puglia. I would like also to say that 2023 is going to see maybe the launch of new series on YouTube, which I haven't had a lot of time to deliver, but they're always at the back of my mind. We're about food, which is my passion, or about wine, or about exploring, which I could die for. I could like to get into caves inside mountains, underground. So we're about delivering some of those videos. So I really wish for a 2023 where I can have more time to also deliver things deliver things that are a little bit also in line with the things that I have a big passion for. In the meantime, I'll say, wherever you are in the world, take your life in your own hands. You've probably been considering relocating for a long time. You probably want to explore it for yourself to see if it's really somewhere that fits with you. Well, do that. Book your flights if you need to do so, or otherwise book a consultation call with us. We can chat to you about, we can explain. And ultimately, if you are somewhere that you don't know the environment, does it really matter where you are, as long as you have good weather, good food, and a beautiful home to go back to. So those are the elements that I think are very, very important. A fantastic neighborhood, a beautiful region to explore. And also, I also say that Puglia, and especially the lower part of Puglia, it's a very special part of Italy, because it's the only part of Italy, can you believe it? The only part of Italy, actually no, there is the Pianura Padana also in Emilia-Romagna, Bologna, Modena, Parma, which is pretty flat. But also it's the only, but there's no sea. But this is the only part of Italy which is totally flat. 200 kilometers of flat, beautiful landscape surrounded by the most idyllic coastlines. So a nice place perhaps to do very long walks. We're all aging. We don't like going up and down the stairs, climbing hills and mountains. It's beautiful to look at them, but sometimes it's hard work as well. I can tell you during this holiday, I've realized how much hard work it is climbing and descending. So being somewhere where it's flat, perhaps you enjoy riding a bicycle, and you may be in your late 60s, early 70s, or late 70s, even older, you can live a very good quality life. So I believe that it is a region of Italy which has got a lot to offer. Also good value for money. It's a part of Italy where we could still have a good quality of living, with the cost of energy rising up and up and up, having temperatures that don't go below freezing, allows you as well perhaps to save a little bit on your gas bills and on your fuel bills. So I don't know, I can go on and on and on about how beautiful this particular part of Italy is. Jesus, nice, thank you very much. Just so you leaving a comment. Happy New Year to everybody. This is my first break in 4 years. COVID sort of came in, and as you know, just I will talk about that in a second. COVID came in and paralyzed everybody. I remember landing from London in March 2020, and that was my last time that I managed actually to travel to places, because we got grounded. Now, Casa Stefano, if you watch it, he's actually said to me, talk about the pad thai. Well, what can I say? I can cook a fantastic pad thai if I can find the ingredients. I find pad thai to be the twin, the twin brother to the spaghetti Napoli. Spaghetti Napoli, that flavor of the tomato sauce and that beautiful spaghetti from, fantastic. But at the same time, that flavor of the noodles and the pad thai, and everything in an idyllic place like this is very unique. Now, if I had to talk about Thailand, then I think I will shift the focus from Salento. I want you to focus on Salento. Salento is the place. No, but Thailand is equally. I've been here 7 times. So if you do ever find an opportunity to travel to Thailand, I also say that it's one of those places on the earth which I think resembles very much my concept in business. If you think about what I've created, and for every one of you who has taken advantage of remote purchasing and property management, I always like to think that if I'm spending my money, I don't want to think, I don't want to worry, and I don't want to work if I'm spending my money. I want you to do the running for me. It's different. If I'm not spending money, then I'll do the running. Yeah, but how many times do you find yourself that you're spending a good amount of money and you're still doing the running? And you're thinking, why am I paying all this money and I'm still doing the running? And so the concept here in Thailand is that you don't think, you land and you have a lot of people that want to offer you a place to stay, they want to offer you transportation, they want to offer you food, and they all have good intention. And I find this to be almost that element close to paradise, you know. That idea of just dropping my defense, my barriers, and not worrying that somebody's working hard to earn their money. I find that to be something that we've totally lost in the world that we probably know. And we're spending the money, and we always have to look our back, you know. The amount of people that contact me through the years saying, Davide, we were buying a property here, we were buying a property there, we've been ripped off here, we've been ripped off there, we've been told this, but then it was different, they promised us this, and then this didn't happen. And that, it's so frustrating for me, to a point that I can't even explain how frustrating it is. It just makes me absolutely sick. So talking about Thailand and why I've been here 7 times, it's just amazing. You know, people have been walking past while I've been doing this video, and they have a big smile on their face, and it's just very, very special. And I find that I don't need to book anything. I could just land here anyway. I'm becoming a travel blogger, which probably is not too bad after visiting 36 countries around the world. So I can say that Thailand marries really conceptually my way of doing business. You see, I really have a huge amount of respect to every one of you who's actually trusted our process and given us money. Every time I issue an invoice, I feel a huge amount of respect for those people that are on the other side of the world, and they're settling that invoice knowing that something will happen and what is being promised them will happen. And you can talk to anyone in my team, and they will witness to that the only time Davide goes absolutely crazy and starts screaming like a lunatic, and trust me, I do scream like a lunatic in the office, is when something that I promised is not happening. And sometimes the cause could be a third-party realtor, it could be a legal situation, but just the idea that is causing frustrations for somebody that approached me just makes me feel really bad. So I'd like to promise you for 2023 to continue to marry the concept of Thailand. I deliver happiness. It's just a fantastic way. So if you are thinking of moving to Italy, well, consider Puglia. And for you, Brian, who's just come on, here is the Taranta, yeah. Brian, for example, who's just come on board now, although he came over to Italy a couple of times because it was a little bit of an awkward deal, wasn't it, Brian? But I would say to date represents my largest remote purchasing, because he trusted the process remotely. Obviously the deal took a little longer, so he ended up coming over and see the property in real life, but he did make that commitment without ever coming over, which I thought he was absolutely extraordinary. So well done, Brian. And we're going to be arriving in Italy almost together, and you are relocating, so living Tennessee for Salento, and you're going to have a beautiful sea view. So I'm very, very pleased about the property that is waiting for you, which I'm making sure that the stuff is getting ready for you. So Paul Simone gets loads of my messages on a daily basis. Mario Gervasi just joined us, and my house better be ready Saturday. Yes, Brian, your house is ready. I was chatting back and forwards yesterday, even the swimming pool is ready. So anyway, live now, I'm telling you that your house is ready. Maglio from a legal department has been helping us since we started. You know, can we help people to buy property remotely, was my question. Well, there was a little missing link, which he was doing a power of attorney remotely. Well, you know what? The amount of videos that you can find online now about people offering the services and expats talking about, yes, the process is very simple. Yes, you just do this. But you know what? 3 years ago, when I ventured into this, no one talked about the possibility of doing a remote purchase and doing a remote power of attorney. Now everybody's doing it, and it's fantastic. I love the idea of being the pioneer, and probably I've explored, and now I'm allowing a lot of people in different parts of Italy to use exactly the same system. So well done, Maglio. Thank you very much, because you took your time. You came all the way over from Sicily. Your office is in Sicily and Rome, to talk to me and present the possibility back in 2019, and then in 2020 we did our first deal remotely, and Stephen Pender from Casal Stefano, I believe, was my first remote purchasing or power of attorney. So well done, Maglio. Now we're also venturing into other areas which are very, very important. If you purchase a property in Italy, we're about having a will, making sure that your assets are secure. You know, laws in Italy are different to what they are in different parts of Europe or in the United States or in Australia. So having a will is very, very important. You know, life changes very, very quickly. So it's very important as well to make things secure. Now, what about other legal advice, accountancy advice? All of those elements are important if you're thinking of a relocation, or if you're thinking about building a little, well, what do you want to call it? A little portfolio of what it is. I have a client, is not joining me. I actually tried him earlier on FaceTime, but I think he's having too much of a good time. Mark, he's actually picked up 6 properties over the last couple of years, and so that's a small portfolio of property. Now, very important for clients like that to have a will in place, to have their accountancy sorted, and really the opportunity of turning these properties into a revenue generating tool. It's very, very, very good. So anyway, I've been going on for too long. I've got 14 people on YouTube and 9 on Instagram. I just would like to take my last few hours here on the sea, meditate, which is a very important part of my daily routine. Spend a little bit of time meditating. I will encourage every one of you to meditate. I'll encourage every one of you to... Mark is a collector. Yes, you're going for your second one soon. Well, we've got a few with 2 and 3, but Mark, it's way ahead, so try to catch up. But yeah, some of you who've picked up a property a year ago, they've already generated revenue through our rental process, because although we're launching renting in Puglia that I talked about a few minutes ago, we've been assisting our clients to rent their properties already. So, but you're doing really well. I know exactly who you are. Thanks, Brian. So yeah, I think meditating is what allowed me at the age of 44 to retire from working every day and being stuck in a rat race. Yes, I've worked really hard over the last 2 to 3 years, but my life went through some massive changes. But I also like to think that although I work really hard, I take a lot of pleasure in what I do. So if you are doing something that you're not enjoying, if you are working and moaning, if you are just find yourself that you are in that rat race, just stop every day for 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, and think, how can I change this? How can I work on my expenses on a monthly basis? How can I use what I've got to generate revenue and reduce the amount of time that I'm going to be spending work? You know, a lot of people need to wait to the age of 65, 67, 70 before they retire. Now, do you really want to wait that long? If you're in your 50s and you still have a lot of power and a lot of energy to explore, to enjoy life, to develop friendships, to perhaps help, do some charity work, doing some voluntary work, do you really want to wait until you are into your late 70s or your late 60s? So stop for 5 minutes, only 5 minutes every day, and pause and think, what can I do to change my life? Some of the people that have embraced the relocation process, they're doing exactly that. They're cutting their expenses by 2/3. They're using their assets, their property that perhaps they have in the United States, in Australia, in England, or in Germany, wherever it is, to purchase something a lot cheaper, to embrace a cost of living which is a lot cheaper in order to work less and spend the remaining part of their life really absorbing life. So spend 5 minutes every day doing that. That's my resolution for 2023, to spend a little bit more time every week exercising, which is something that I enjoyed very much, and the last 3 years I really have neglected. So this is official. In 2023 I would like to just exercise a little more and have a little bit more time to do the things that I'm very passionate about, which is baking bread, exercising, and helping people. Now, To every one of you who's commented during this live, every one of you who's preparing the big New Year's party, I'll say Happy New Year. I wish you a very prosperous, thank you, I'll come to the gym with you, Brian. A very prosperous, and when I say prosperous, I don't mean financially, I mean health. A new year for you, for your family, for your friends, for everybody that you care for. Stay positive, very important. Never allow those things to fog your mind. Very important to stay positive. And before I become too emotional, which is probably one of my problems, I'll say goodbye to everybody. Happy New Year, and God bless. Ciao.